Let's discuss the pros and cons of the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. First, let's get a little lay of the land. You are going to be spending anywhere from about $32,000 all the way up to about $90,000 for the priciest Jeep Grand Cherokee here. And my goodness, what a difference in vehicles. So base price on the Laredo, obviously 32,000. You're going to get about a 293 horsepower vehicle. You're actually going to get pretty decent gas mileage, basically 19 and 26 city and highway. So pretty decent gas mileage is what you're going to be getting with your standard Grand Cherokee. But once you get all the way up to that Trackhawk, I mean, gas mileage goes out of the window, right? And it's all about fun because you're going to see 707 horsepower from the Trackhawk. So essentially, that's a completely different vehicle, in my opinion. 707 horsepower. Basically, your smile is just going to be permanently plastered on your face because the muscles in your face will have been pushed back so fast from going as fast as you possibly can. So, basically, you're getting, a 3.6 liter V6 traditionally. Out of the vast majority of the Grand Cherokees. You can also upgrade it to a 5.7 liter V8 if you want a little bit more horsepower. That'll kick it up right around 70 horsepower more. You're going to go all the way up to about 360 if you want to improve the pull that you got going on. It's going to drop your obviously, it's going to drop your mileage a little bit, but might be worth it to get that nice, throaty, deep V8 working in your favor. So, safety rating, you've got a 5-star overall National Highway Traffic Safety Administration rating, 4-star frontal crash rating, 5-star side crash, and a 4-star rollover rating, which is about a 16.9% rollover risk during their testing. So, keep that in mind. It says that it's a 5-star, but you know what? 4-star front crash, come on, you got to do better than that, right? So a little bit of a knock in my book, if you're asking me. So let's talk about what basically your entire lineup. So you've got the Laredo, that's your standard, the Limited, the Trailhawk, the Overland, the Summit, the SRT, and that Trackhawk. Obviously, just belongs on a different tier all of itself. The SRT, you could say the same thing about that. You've got a 6.4 liter V8, it's going to get a couple miles per gallon better than the Trackhawk. But you're losing out on a ton of horsepower. You're going to get 475 horsepower as opposed to the Trackhawk. So make your choices that way. Now let's get into the more specific pros and cons of this vehicle. I should also mention, I'm not talking about the L, right? I know that's out there. I know that's definitely beautiful as far as revamping this whole lineup, but I'm not talking about it. We're just going to go traditional on this one. So pros, plenty of off-road capability with the Trailhawk being particularly well-suited and equipped. So Trailhawk falls right in the middle there, basically third, sitting at about 45,375 MSRP, and it definitely has what you need if you're an off-road person, if that's what you're looking for. Start there and kind of work your way up. You've got up to 7,200 pounds of towing capacity when properly equipped, and obviously that's going to demand the larger engines. It's going to be far more expensive, but it should be able to offer plenty of power to lug around a few toys. Fuel economy, like we mentioned earlier, is certainly solid within the segment. It's not a standalone star by any means, but the standard V6 is pretty efficient when it comes to MPGs. So you'll have a wide variety of speaker setups, enough to satisfy any audiophile. Obviously, you're going to be having to deal with the tiers of this Grand Cherokee in order to get the best audio performance that you would prefer. But, you've got plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities to look that up. You also have 3 years of complimentary scheduled maintenance. All right, that's pretty cool. A lot of car builders are going that direction. And I think it's pretty much going to become standard for quite a few lineups here in the near future. You do also, speaking of making sure that everything is kept up nice and beautiful, driver's seat and passenger seat, right? Back side of them have hard panels to them, which is great if you're lugging around the kids. Let me say, this for me is a necessity, and I put that up super high on my pros list because of it. I've got the kiddos in a wintertime environment that are getting salt all over the back of all of my vehicles, and you've got something that protects your seats that way. So definitely great job on that one, Jeep. You also have sort of the two-row configuration in this vehicle is basically the standard, right? If you're looking for a two-row and you want something with a bit more space in the cargo, Grand Cherokee's for you. And that's why I do really appreciate this. I don't have, a litter of 5, so I don't need a third row personally. And for me, it gives you plenty of storage room in the back and tons of standard cargo space. If you aren't planning on hauling around your basketball team, then having a vehicle that's naturally built for extra cargo space can be refreshing, in my opinion. Rear cargo floorboard is substantial. So if you have to haul around anything heavy or, you're throwing stuff in the back of that, you're not going to worry about dents. It's built for a bit of extra weight because it is built to be a two-row vehicle again. So you've got that storage space back there for a reason. So you can haul some things no problem at all. So it also has a latch that'll provide a little extra security, so it's not flopping around back there for you as well. I love the capless gas tank. I love it, love it, love it. It's definitely less chance of getting gas on your hands when removing and replacing the gas tank cap after filling. So I love that because you know what? There's nothing worse than gas hands. And normally, I know you're getting it from the gas pump or whatever is around there, but it just eliminates one more problem, right? I also love the central speedometer on the gauge cluster. Why do so many other vehicles get this wrong? Why do they have them off center? Why do they make it difficult to rearrange your gauge cluster? I love the fact that I know how fast I'm going. I just look straight down. It's right dead center. I don't have to worry about it, right? That is great. You also do have a hydraulic hood lift available. Thank you very much. I don't know why we're having to deal with these stupid flimsy arms anymore. Is it not 2021 yet? It is, right? So we should be able to have hydraulic lift for every single front end, in my opinion. So why not? Let's see, what else should we talk about? Central ventilation, right? And charging spaces for rear seats. So if you have kiddos in the back, there's no need for them to fight over ventilation. For me, the biggest frustration are the stupid vents, right? For the kids, I need air. It's hot. It's warm. It's too cold. Now they each have their own vent. You're happy. You're good to go. They each have their own charging port. Happy. Good to go. You don't need to worry about that. Simple steering wheel design is intuitive and easy to use. Love that. Also is a very comfortable steering wheel for long drives. So, you know me, I'm always looking forward to those long drives, especially when you've got an SUV that does all right on the highway. 26 miles a gallon. You can take this up on longer trips, no problem whatsoever. Plenty of hard touch buttons for the climate control, eco mode, sport mode, etc. So I am a stickler for hard touch. I love me a good infotainment system, but when it comes to the standard things that I need to know exactly where they are at all times, hard touch, hard touch, hard touch, and this one gets it right, in my opinion. Center console armrest is substantial enough for those long, comfortable drives, right? And even shareable if, you're willing to go that far. For me, I'm a greedy guy when I'm driving. That armrest is mine, and there's plenty of room, so I appreciate it. It handles nice, right? And it clearly doesn't drive like a traditional big, bulky SUV, 3-row monster that we've been seeing lately. So, and it easily handles bumps along the way for sure. So, not too rough of a drive. And it easily fits that niche between tiny, cramped, compact SUV and those large 3-rows, right? Without putting in a useless third row. That's my biggest complaint now about these 3-row SUVs is they're not really 3-row. They're like 2.45 rows, right? Because who can really go back there? Not an adult, and basically not anybody over the age of 7. right? So yeah, I'm totally okay with a two-row that just admits what it is, and that's what I love about the Jeep Grand Cherokee. So cons, most of the driver's assistant technology is not standard. So that, in my opinion, makes it start to fall behind the competitors a little bit in the segment. It frustrates me. Why? Because I think a lot of those driver's assistance technologies are basic standard safety requirements, in my opinion. You know me. Blind spot monitoring, I think it's a must, and I think it should be in everything as standard. But obviously, that's not what Jeep decided to do. The standard tiny infotainment system is simply too small, so it almost forces you to upgrade from the get go. Which I understand. You know, some people really, when you want a standard vehicle, I guess you want no frills, and that's what you get with the tiny standard infotainment system for sure. Limited warranty and powertrain warranty are only average. They're not really matching up with the industry leaders, obviously the Kias and whatnot, and Hyundai of the world. So um, it's hard to do that, to be honest with you. But so they're only average, and the interior isn't the most luxurious. Obviously, that's where the L models are going to come into play. But we're not talking about those. We're going to talk about those some other time. Would like a little bit more leg room in the back for the second row. I mean, rear seats, they seem to be a little more cramped than they should be, especially when you know you don't have to deal with a third row back there. So give me just a little bit more leg room. Why not? If I really need that extra 6 inches uh, um, to throw some cargo in, then I'm probably just going to fold the second row down anyways, you know? So why not make the second row much more comfortable? Also, kind of going back on the cramped area that's back there, I don't really like the rear doors. They seem a bit small, and maybe that's the dad lugging a car seat profile in me, which definitely exists. Um, but they don't seem very big in my opinion. And you know what? Like I said, there's enough room on that side. There's enough room in the cargo. Just stretch those doors out. I know it's also going to offer a bit of a benefit for people who have kids, not going to knock the car doors next to you with that long door, but I think it's just a little too small in my opinion. And I also wish the rear seats had a deeper recline. Again, it's a two-row. You should be able to take those things all the way down to the ground, lay flat if I needed to, but they just don't take advantage of the extra space back there. And a full recline, come on, you can do it. You can do it. So, and obviously the SRT and the Trailhawk are the expensive outliers. Beyond that, acceleration in kind of across the board leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, it's got some get up and go, enough to get on highways and whatnot, but you kind of left wanting a bit more speed, especially for the first, 60 miles an hour push. So that's it for the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I do hope you have the best of luck finding your new vehicle. And you know what? This Jeep Grand Cherokee wouldn't be a bad choice.